Well, hey guys, welcome back to the shop. You know what the old saying is, just because you don't see me doesn't mean I'm not working, right? Yeah, it's spring. I had to get, the yard tuned up, put the screen porch, maybe you can see that from here, finish the screen porch. That was a good project. If you ever get the opportunity to do a project like that, do it yourself. It's doing that project saved me almost $3,000. It's a lot of money. You can buy a lot of three-wheelers with that. Got a couple of projects in. Probably not going to do a lot of videos on them. This actually is a Suzuki Eiger 400 that someone sabotaged. I'm going to insert a little clip, but when I got it, someone had actually taken a water hose and stuck in the air cleaner, filled the entire air box up full of water, went through the carburetor, went all the way down into the crankcase, and I'm going to show you, I'm going to insert a little clip of what the water looked like coming out of there. Crazy. I've never seen anything like it. It came in for a no start, and that's what sidelined it. But while it was not being used, the story goes a neighbor came over to this fella's house and sabotaged his four-wheeler, and he didn't know. He brought it to me. He had no idea. And that's one of those CYAs. I took a video of what I found, because if somebody would have called and told me, hey, your machine's been underwater, and I don't know that I would have believed him. Yeah, I took a little video of that. I'll show that to you. Still got the cheapest Honda on the market, the little pink 250 ES. Got a seat cover for it. When you get a seat cover, it's a good idea to lay them out. Really, anytime you're dealing with any type of vinyl, lay it out, let it get hot, let it kind of get acclimated to its environment. These are really inexpensive. You can pick up a seat cover for around $30 or so, and just the look, it just changes the whole look of the machine. I tell you, a messed up seat cover to me it just makes the whole machine look bad. So that's been fun. Cranks and runs and drives, perfect. That was a bargain right there. Gonna be sad to see that one go. I'll tell you a little story on this go-kart. It came in for a rusty gas tank. They put regular fuel in it and they let it sit. We got the tank cleaned out. The carburetor was too far gone. The bowl was actually pitted on the inside, and once a carburetor bowl starts to pit, you really can't stop it, especially if you're going to let it sit. And I know what's going to happen. This machine is going to get run once, and then it's going to sit 3 months before it's ridden again. So I talked to the owner. I said, hey, look, just let me put a carburetor on it, $35 carburetor, put a carb on it, and at least you get a couple more years out of it, as long as you don't put the fuel in it. And so that one's still here. We may put that on the track. I don't know. They're awful bumpy. But today, what we're going to work on, it's not really, mechanics per se, and I'm not a builder. Y'all are going to see that real quick. But the tractor does not fit over close enough to where the shelf is. And so the tractor kind of has to be half in the door and half out of the door. So I need some type of shelf or some type of platform that will kind of be offset. And kind of what I'm thinking here is that, let's say the tractor's gone, and I'm kind of planning ahead here. If the tractor's out on a job or somewhere else, then I could take what I'm building today and we can put it up on a ramp. And no, it won't be ideal, but we could pull the machine down manually with this and not necessarily use the tractor. So what I'm going to do is, I've kind of figured out, just working with scrap around the shop here. We're not going to invest a bunch of money. I've got some plywood pieces here, and I've got an old pallet that I've busted up. I've taken it apart. Yeah, let's call it that. I've taken it apart, and I've got some metal tubing. I've always got metal tubing laying around, and I've cut up what I think is going to work. I wanted some evenly spaced feet. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a foot, and then we're going to put on a spacer. We're going to weld that on there like that. We're going to weld that on there like that. And then this entire assembly will weld to the bottom side of these, and then what that will do is that will make us a 2-inch, 2¼ inch pocket for the fork to go through. And the reason I wanted to kind of overkill on that is because I was more concerned about the counterbalance. Is when I get a machine all the way out on this end, it's going to want to pick that end up. So I couldn't have just a pallet that's set on the forks. I needed to capture that side fork. Well, if you're going to capture that side fork, you got to capture this side fork so this sits level when you pull in and out of it with your forks. Otherwise, you're having to get off and you know, monkey with it and line everything up. So I'm hoping that I can basically build a metal skid with permanent feet underneath it. I can use this at a double for a ramp. It won't be too heavy, and I can put it here in the shop out of the way to just stand up out of the way against the wall. So that's the plan, and got some new projects coming in here. Next week's video is going to be a big week. Hopefully I have all my ducks in a row to kind of let the cat out of the bag on something. I'm holding something back from you. I'll apologize up front. It's just the world we live in, and I'll explain when that time comes. So next weekend, that video should be a nice one. I'm excited about it. Got a gasket kit for the LT250R. That's what we've been waiting on. I've got a cylinder and I've got a piston for that machine. We should be able to put that motor back together and get it back in the frame and hear it run pretty soon here. I really drug my feet on that one. It's took me a little while to get the gasket kit, and that's not the whole reason. There's something about that machine that's bothering me, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if y'all have ever run into that or not. Have you ever had a project or started a project and got cold feet? Yeah, well, my feet are cold. As you see, I'm not a welder. I have a welder. That's about it. I have a welder. You kind of get the idea of what we're doing here. I know some of y'all engineers are going to tell me that if I'd have turned my middle pieces vertical, it'd have been stronger, and you're exactly right, it would be. But this way I didn't have to measure. And this is just one of those down and dirty little projects. You just kind of want to put something together. It needs to be strong, it needs to be functional. And that's really what we're going for here, is functional. So at this point, I'm going to kind of slide these on the forks. I'm just making this up. There's no instructions. There's no kit. It's just whatever looks right, and if it works with the materials I have, then we're doing it. So here we go. Let's see how we did. Yeah, there you go. So the plan now is we're going to set these out So the plan now is we'll space these out. I gotta weld the inside of those, don't I? Whoops. So that's the idea. And then we're gonna take some lumber, probably. We've got some plywood, and we'll deck the top of this and pretty much make a platform out of it. I think the widest vehicle is a 4-wheeler, so we got to work probably off of a 5-foot width, and then lengthwise 6 is really the minimum. This is 8, which is overkill, but I wanted it, if I was going to take the time to build it, it needed to serve double duty. It needed to be a ramp by itself without the tractor, or it needed to be able to scoot the material or the work over so the tractor doesn't have to get as close to the shelf over there. So let me weld these other two before I forget, and everything's already here and laid out. Get a welder. If you're interested in any kind of fab, there's a lot of good information out there. There's a fella, he's got one of those funny names, Aaron, that's his name. He's got a channel called Garage Fab. Just a real likable fella, and he really takes the time to go over the finer points of teaching you and to weld and cut and measure and all of those little things, figuring out radiuses and angles and the stuff that really trips up a lot of folks, including myself. I love watching his channel. He's building a Mighty Max D50 now, I believe it is, one of those lowriders, and we're talking chop frame and section and body dropped and Z-notched and the whole 9 yards. And if you don't know what any of that is, go check out his channel. He does some really amazing work with very limited tools, and I think that's what I like about him so much, is he's not afraid to take on some really challenging projects doing it right. And so I encourage you, go check out his channel. It's here on the YouTube. It's called Garage Fab. His name is Aaron, and he does an amazing job. So here we got the rails. I just finished up welding the other side, and I did a time lapse of that. You saw that. When it comes to welding, you know, penetration, look at your color. This is galvanized. Please, guys, if y'all are using galvanized metal, you saw me take the time to grind all that galvanization off. Be sure and do that. That's what you don't want when you're working with galvanized metal. Grind that off. You can hit this real quick with a wire brush and then a can of silver spray paint, and it'll just go away. It'll look really good. But let's see what we got. Good morning. I had a late night. I came out to the shop and just worked. That's a pattern with me. this film and everything, it's been 2 years, but it just takes twice as long. If you've never had to film or shoot anything or plan or anything like that, it takes twice as long, and it takes half as long to mess up the garage or the shop here. It's a mess. So we're going to finish this video up with a little results and I guess explaining really what I had to go through. This is a Suzuki Eiger 400 4x4. I don't work I really don't like doing work for other people. Expectations are high. This is you know, hey, there's Chloe. There's Chloe, everybody, right there. She's coming out. She hears me talking. She wants to make sure there's nobody else out here other than just me. She's jealous like that. My phone rings and she'll run over to me and want to know who I'm talking to. There she is. Hey, Chloe. So what I was saying is I really don't like doing work for other people. You know, timelines, you know, they want it done as soon as possible, and it always starts off the same way. It always starts off real good. Oh, take your time, and oh, money's not a problem, and oh, I'm sure it's an easy fix, and yeah, one of those three generally goes off the rails. Like the go-kart, easy fix, but now the customer doesn't want to come get it, you know. And I say customer, it's a guy I know. It's a free job for him basically, but it's costing me time and space. Anyways, so working for other people, I just don't like it. I'd rather buy a machine, take my time, do what I want to do to it. I make all the decisions. I don't have to run it, you know, in front of a board or a committee. Or I just do what I want to do. When I'm done with it, then I sell it. And that's why I don't do work for other people. I get people all the time. Hey, can I send you an engine? Hey, tell me, you know, if I send you this machine, will you fix it? And that's just not what I like to do. And I don't want this to become another job. I have enough jobs as it is. If this is no longer fun, then I won't have anything for me. So, not to ramble or rant, but that's why I really don't like doing work for other people. This particular Suzuki is a favor. It's not a job. A friend of mine brought it to me in a bad way, and it just had a lot of things going wrong with it. Some reason it lost spark. We've got spark back, and honestly, I don't know why it lost spark. I ended up putting the original coil back on it, which is the coil that it had when it lost spark. These are known for throwing the magnets on the flywheel, and that's what I was, you know, concerned was going to be the problem. I really haven't fixed a no spark issue because it's sparked ever since I put the coil on it. So until that fails, there's really nothing I can do. But when I found that it was full of water, which is something that, you know, I showed you the little clip earlier in the video, the only thing I can think of is the guy had it had tore apart. He had a problem. He's got a crackhead for a neighbor, and he feels that the guy came over, stuck the water hose in the air intake, and literally filled the entire engine. I have changed the oil 3 times. That's 3 gallons of oil's been through here, and I'm on the 3rd filter, and it's just now what I would consider acceptable to run it. The reason being, this machine has an oil cooler, and that water got everywhere. And water and oil don't mix, we all know that. But you got to think that all the nooks and the crannies and everything. So I got all the water out of it, and we got it running, and I couldn't give it any throttle. It would idle, but it wouldn't really run. And so I'd already looked at the carburetor. Both jets were clear. I ended up having to pull the carburetor again. Had to go completely through it. Disassembled every single part of it. Put it in an ultrasonic cleaner, let it run for almost 2 hours, just rotating it inside the cleaner. Took it out, rinsed it out, blew it out, put it back together, and then I was able to ride it. So it's stone cold, as they say. I just got out to the shop. I mean, it's as cold. I don't know how to prove it's colder. Here's the exhaust. It's cold. It's not run at all. There's my hand. It's cold, guys. Let's see how we did. Took a little longer than wasn't expected, I'll be honest with you, but again, don't know. Don't know. It should fire right up. I don't know why it had such a lag there initially, but it purrs like a kitten. I mean, check that out. I got to tell you, when I first got all the water out of it and was running it, I had a real fear that the exhaust had taken on water too, and it did steam a little bit the first couple of minutes of it running, but I don't think any water really got into it. I've ran the machine out around the yard, ripped up the yard pretty good. I don't think there's any water left in there. I do like these little, it's an older fella, y'all, don't laugh. He's got him some little crates. This is genius. Look at this. It's an L bracket upside down, as that's how I would think of it. A hook is threaded to a bolt to pull down on this to keep it from moving. The bungee cords I thought were to keep the box in place. No, I think that's to keep stuff in the box. But I just thought that was just the smartest thing right there. You know, people come up with the neatest stuff sometimes. One more thing, best comment in the end of May, I'm going to send you one of Sammy's flags. Flag Express, it's the flags I have hanging up in the shop. You've seen them, they've been here for years actually. Sammy was one of the first people to actually kind of sponsor a video, if you will. And so we're going to give away 2 flags at the end of May. One is going to go to a member, so if you have a paid subscription to the channel, thank you so much for that. I'm going to kind of pay you back a little bit. One of y'all is going to get a free flag, and also someone with the best comment. You don't have to be a member, but if you've got a good funny little comment or something you want to put down in the comments, please do that. Put a joke down there. Make sure it's family friendly, please. But yeah, 2 flags coming up next week. I think at the end of the month we'll be giving those away, so look forward to that. We'll do kind of a live event, and if y'all want to do some questions and answers, we can do that too. I found this hook, this piece of wire in the box behind me. Push it down, go forward, light goes off, we're in gear. Put our little hooker back up there. so here's our rack. Finish this video up. I went ahead and put a stop on it. If I know somebody's going to say, why are the metal rails offset? And the reason I did that is when I pull into it with the tractor, I wanted one continuous hard stop for the forks to come into, and so that's why I started with the rail there. And then this was just to keep on the forks a reasonable amount. Hey, Chloe. There's Chloe. Look at you. Hey, Chloe's on a rack. Hey, girl. She hadn't been out in the shop in a while. Okay. Bye, Chloe. So I'm going to put this to use. We're going to do some swapping around on the shelf up here. But I'm telling you, next week's video is going to be a big one. Some stars have aligned, and I'm going to go over a list with you of machines that I've wanted to acquire, and we're just about there. And so pretty excited about that. Got a lot of work ahead of me, but that's what it's all about. Thanks, like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate it. Y'all have a great day.